Welcome to SAM Conversation, a program of South Asia Monitor. Today we're going to discuss disengagement by the People's Liberation Army of China on the line of actual control, for which it is our pleasure to welcome Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, former Director General Military Operations, former Director, Center for Joint Warfare Studies, and an old accomplished paratrooper who's seen a lot of the line of actual control during his service. And it's taken about over 20 meetings at the Corps Commander level. However, it's the BRICS summit which has caused a positive development of President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meet, and for Xi Jinping to talk about or agree to a disengagement. We're not. We'll go into. I expect General Bhatia to give us go into the details. And here it's always, as they say, the devil is in the details. General Bhatia, while let's welcome this as good news, please take on from here.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to be on the platform of South Asia Monitor, and especially with you, sir, my senior from the academy days. Thank you, sir. So I think it's been a major breakthrough because after the May 2020 forward deployment by the PLA in Eastern Ladakh, especially, the two remaining points of friction which had not been resolved were Demchok, basically the CNN junction, Chardung Nala junction, and the Depsang plains. So these two were creating unnecessary rift between the relations between India and China also. And China always wanted the relations to improve without getting into the LAC resolution.
Let the LAC be as it is. Let's do other business.
Right, and India stands always that we need status quo ante as of 4 May 2020. That was the date which we have identified as a forward deployment of the PLA. So this was going on for a long time, and I honestly, sir, if you ask me, I was not expecting this resolution so early. The fact that the Chinese came in, let me go a little, sir, if you permit, I'll go a little bit of the Chinese strategy. Because to understand China is very important. Unfortunately, we don't understand China. And worse still, Chinese don't understand Indians at all. Our understanding of China is through a US perspective, basically the Western perspective, because we read what they write. But in the Indian context, things are different. So what I want to say is that China's strategy has always been, over the last 7 decades, it is claim, occupy, legitimize, exploit, and integrate. Sir. Now, they did that in Tibet, they did that in Outer Mongolia, they did that in Turkmenistan, Eastern Turkmenistan, sir. They're trying to do the same thing in Taiwan Straits. So this is the Chinese view of the strategy of doing things. So even in the case of India, or the India-China border, which is about 3,488 kilometers, as per our that's our border, China has always said that the border they date on the border as 7 September 1959 lines. And based on that line, if you see the intrusions of May 2020, when the world was fighting the combating COVID, Made in China COVID,
yes,
and that is an opportunity. That an opportunity China got to come and occupy what they perceive as their territories. Right, sir? So line of actual control, what we call, is basically, sir, at the cost of reputation. It is not one line, it is not two lines, it is not three lines, 4 lines, sir. It's the line of perceptions, basically. The Indian perception of the line of actual control, the Chinese perception line of actual control, sir. The Indian perception and Chinese perception line of actual control. Right, sir? Because what we do is, when they come, we map everything and we then plot it and we think that is their perception. And similarly, China also perceives India's perception in their own way. So there is a total muddle, and It is not defined. There's no common understanding. Despite that, I think we must look at the process. The two armies, the PLA and the Indian Army, for 4 decades, literally, because 1975 for 3.5 decades, 24th October 1975 was the last shot fired in anger, sir. And we maintained that. We maintained that based on.
No, in 2075, are you referring to Tulungla?
24th, yes, sir. Yes, 24th.
Tulungla, no. They did not fire. They tortured those four personnel of 5 Assam rifles.
No,
5 Assam rifles, the same battalion which escorted the Dalai Lama.
No,
Which
that no,
escorted
I'm
the
talking,
Dalai
about,
Lama.
I'm talking about 75.
Yeah,
75.
October,
No,
the incident
75.
in Tulungla
Tulungla.
involving
You're right.
Tulungla,
Absolutely right.
involving 4 personnel of 5 Assam rifles.
Absolutely right.
They killed them by torture, not by bullets.
No, there's a firing incident also, sir.
I see. They were exchange of fire also. Okay.
That's the last shot in anger which was fired on 75, sir. And then suddenly, sir, things were when they're looking up, we had 5 agreements, and the last agreement was October. Again, it was on 24th of October 2013. The Border Defense Cooperation Corporate Agreements, the BDCA, 2013. So those 5 agreements were literally thrown by the Chinese into the dustbin, and they disregarded the 5 agreements and came and did the forward deployments, sir. Unfortunately, as I see it, sir, they did not appreciate, expect an Indian resolve, a strategic
response.
A resolve. Yeah. The response was there, but the resolve was I think absolutely measured resolve that you cannot come any further. And we faced up to them in a very measured manner, which I call no blinking, no blink measures. Right, sir. We did not do a blink measure. Even if we went to Kailash range, sir, we vacated the Kailash range, which is a good strategic signal to the Chinese. And everyone criticizes that, but every QPQ option, sir, has a limited value in time and space. It cannot be unlimited, sir. We did not want escalation. They did not want escalation, sir. So if you find after Galwan, and despite Galwan, where 20 of our soldiers made supreme sacrifice, and reportedly 43 PLA soldiers were also
that
killed,
43 is the official figure, but there are reports of there being many more.
But 43 is generally agreed upon. And despite that, there has been no escalation since 16th of June 2020. So obviously, the Chinese also did not want an escalation. And they realized that this is not going to, India is not a pushover. And after 1979 Vietnam, this is the first time that they agreed to go back from occupied territories, sir, which was in Pangong So, which was in Galwan, in Gogra Hot Springs. So this is something which we have not seen earlier with the Chinese. So that was because of India's strategic resolve. And now when it comes to it, and over number of political discussions, diplomatic discussions, military discussions, 22 rounds of co-commander talks, we kept the channels open, we kept talking to them, but we have demonstrated relative strength on the ground, that is especially along the line of action. I think that is what was worrisome. And also, sir, if I may say, it is China's Himalayan blunder to have come in 2020. The Galwan was China's Himalayan blunders. Why I say that is, if you look at the big picture, China is challenging the US for the unipolar world. They want a bipolar world.
Yes.
Multipolar world. And if they want to challenge the US, they cannot be on the wrong side of India. They will need India, if not a pro-China India, at least a neutral India. Because India, the recent parts, the resurgent parts, a global leader. India is not what we generally talk about India.
In fact, now at this point, when we've had a Quad going, even in the Quad, it has been proved that it's the Indian maritime forces, the Indian Navy. It's a fulcrum. It's a whether US, UK, US, and they admit it or not. But as far as Japan is concerned, Japan is the one which is very clear about who is the major force in the in the Indian Pacific, Indo-Pacific region, Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, and it took the U.S. so many years to approach it as Indo-Pacific and not Asia Pacific. Why I'm mentioning that is because this BRICS, this action of the Chinese of disengaging whatever level, whatever amount, it's come because of a grouping that has, sort of clicked or whatever in BRICS of Russia, India, and China, and which should, should make the US very uneasy. Well, that's a separate thing. At present, we are concerned about how much the disengagement is. So please continue.
The disengagement is being, somehow in certain quarters, it is being seen as a win for India. Definitely it's a win for India, but it's also equally win for China. China needed the disengagement as much as India needed the disengagement. One, it is very costly. They are paying cost and consequences. Two, China has opened up too many fronts. The 5 major conflict points, flashpoints of conflict, have a China connection. Taiwan, South China Sea, East Sea, because Japan is militarizing now, Korea, and of course the India-China border. So if you see, China, I think after they realized that they could not achieve their aims, their strategic intent, so they have started, wooing India. And rightly so, they were looking at a face-saving exit. Let's not talk that they've done a great favor. No, it is their requirement as much as India needed that. They're the world's largest populations, old civilizations, cultural linkages. They need India. India needs peace for development. China also needs peace for development.
Yes, no doubt.
China needs Indian markets.
Now, very good you brought this out. This ever since Galwan, ever since 2020 June, their deployment of forces on the Arunachal part of the LAC has become very, very heavy. Do you think there's and that also is costing them?
Yes.
This beefing up that happened. We trying to keep pace with it, but even that I think has been costing them heavy. You think there's going to be any thinning down in that?
Obviously, they need the thinning down because 40% of the PLA is conscripts. We have to understand that. 40% of the PLA is conscripts, and the conscripts come for a 2-year tenure, and every 6 months they turn over. And the conscripts, because they come for a 2-year tenure, they are in frontline units. They cannot be given technical units like Air Force, Navy, and others. So they are basically in frontline units. So imagine in our unit we had a 20% turnover every year, or every 6 months we had 10% turnover. So there's a problem of role definition. There's a problem of motivation. There's a problem of people staying. High altitude is not easy. High altitude is very taxing, very, very taxing. Unlike the Indian Army,
of course.
The Army is battle hardened. We are combat rich. We know high altitude. We are the best high altitude soldiers. You could do Kargil. Who in the world can do Kargil actually? Recapturing Kargil heights. We have stayed there and look at our men. They're just
there is absolutely no doubt. The Western world talks about Alpine. That's their ultimate. Alpine is 8,000. Alps are 8,000. We are going up to 22,000.
5,000 meters average height. 5,000 meters is the average height in Eastern Ladakh. And we are looking at real heights. So what I'm trying to say,
we redefined mountain warfare since 1947-48.
And that is where I think it is not only about I think we owe our overall strategy, and we should start giving ourselves credit. We should claim credit for it. Our overall strategy has been good. Our overall strategy has been excellent, absolutely. Where we defended the LAC, we continued depth diplomacy and binding to balance with in the Quad and other multilateral. And we also build up capabilities to dominate the sea lines of conflict in China's vulnerability. So it is not only one thing. So it is an overall strategy which actually, and China needed economic markets, and we did not stop that. We also need, our China policy should be pro-India, not anti-China. Of course, they hurt us. There's no doubt about it. And 650 million of our youth who had forgotten 1962, who had 1962 history, now they are now anti-China. So this is what the Chinese have not achieved. They haven't. Unfortunately, everyone says that China thinks through. I don't think they thought it through. I think it was a bad decision for China to come into Ladakh. So that is how I see the things. And now that disengagement is happening, and it is a very good thing. They are going to withdraw from basically the bottleneck at Laki Nala, which will give us access to the patrolling points, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Access was there earlier also, but it was not working out in time and frame. Either you come from the north, from the track junction side, which is a very long one, or from the Jeevan Nala side. So now we get that access. And I also, whatever is coming out is that the patrolling would be coordinated, frequency, the strength will lay down, and they would patrol some days and we would patrol other days. And this is a very old thought.
Yes,
Because
yes.
that you come on Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Avoid meetings. Avoid meetings.
Avoid a face-off, avoid a clash, avoid this thing.
Yeah.
Over the years, we managed it well. We would, on the LAC, we all served on the LAC. The patrols would interact, the men would interact. We would even break together, because it doesn't really matter. Well, you're patrolling out. And then we had face-offs and we resolved it. We had the drills, the banner 1, banner 2. Some of those face-offs went a very long time. But actually, the face-offs, look at the history of face-offs, they restarted in a big way on 14th of April 2030, when Dipsang happened. Same place, bottleneck at Laki Nala, 19.5 kilometers inside, when the Chinese came and pitched up the tents and made a quasi-permanent camp. And that was resolved on the 5th of May 2013, after about 22 days of face-off.
Yeah.
So after that, they have come well prepared this time in May 2020, and they came multiple places, 7 odd places. So what I feel is that they realized the futility of the whole thing. They have got a face-saving exit. We got what we wanted. They got what we wanted. It's a win-win situation for both of us.
But also, I think in military history, world military history, this is the way we have managed this border from 1967 till date. Or, it was really without firing at each other, please. Because that's
Absolutely.
the time they pressed us very hard. Let's not fire at each other. It has been by literally stretching our hands and stopping them, grappling, fisticuffs, mukkebazi. I mean, it's unique. This is unique, and this is some show of restraint by the Indian soldier. That restraint broke, of course, on the night of 15-16 June 2020, after we lost 20 personnel of and the CO of 16 Bihar. That restraint.
Absolutely, but I would give equal credit to the PAD also, because as you know, the high altitude.
That reaction didn't come from Delhi or anywhere. It just came from our troops.
It was a spiral actually, and that is what the disengagement done is now. It reduces or it minimizes the chance of spiral, because the troops are not facing each other directly now. So that way, both are looking at peace and tranquility. But having said that, let me also qualify that we should not trust the Chinese.
Absolutely.
If Hindi Chini bye bye 1962, I think Hindi Chini bye.
No doubt.
Hindi Chini bye bye 2.0 was Galwan. So we should not get into a situation where Hindi Chini bye bye 3.0. So please, we should build our capabilities. We should enhance the capacities, build our infrastructure.
Very true.
Keep our contingencies there. We should have reserve
troops.
Don't
let the guard down. Don't thin your, maintain your modernization and and whatever deficiencies we have, that must be maintained.
We need to enhance our ISR in a big way because we should not be
Yes,
taking the game. Our troops are good, but they need the support of infrastructure. They need the support of capability development, and they will need, uh, the even the let me tell you, even the media, they all are aware of now because smartphones are there everywhere. They should not get away that everything is peaceful. Everything is peaceful is fine, but everything peaceful only as long as you maintain vigility, you maintain operational readiness and defense
ab-
preparedness.
absolutely.
Otherwise, to break down doesn't take any time. It has taken 4.5 years to get to this stage. So we should ensure that it doesn't happen again. And for that, we need to be prepared and we need to invest monies and invest them optimally. It is not that we not only invest money, invest them optimally, prioritize the whole thing. And our priority should remain not Eastern Ladakh alone. Our priority, like you rightly said, should be basically Eastern sector, Arunachal Pradesh,
Yes, yes, yes.
Dolan, and also central sector. It is not only Eastern Ladakh. Our focus has shifted to Eastern Ladakh, and Chinese follow Sun Tzu. We all our total focus
Absolutely.
is, and we may get surprised in other places. The disagreement in two places only. It doesn't say that they will not do anything in, let's say, Arunachal, whether the western sector or eastern
Absolutely.
sector,
No, no, no. We
or
cannot afford. We must be prepared for surprises from them and must cater for those.
we should know the contingencies, and I'm sure we are catered for. My little knowledge says that we are fully prepared now. We may be a slow starter, but at the operational and tactical level, we have not been found wanting. If the strategic surprise was achieved in 2020, it was strategic surprise. At the operational level and the tactical level, I think we did exceedingly well. We built up into the. We have to understand some month of May altitude. You're the fag end of your logistics because your logistics only lasts till May and June beginning. You expecting the passes to open and logistics to come in.
yes,
Despite,
yes.
despite that, when our stamina, logistic stamina was on the fag end, we still managed to do push in more troops and support them and sustain them. So at the operational tactical level, I think we should give ourselves a pat. And now the time to synergize the three levels, like we synergize the political, diplomatic, military level, we synergize the strategic, tactical, operational level. At the strategic level, we should understand China's strategic intent, what they do. We have to look deep, and that look deep is not for the armed forces. We don't have the wherewithal. We don't have the. It is not our. It is not our. Basically, it's not our task to look deep. Looking deep, the strategic intent has to come from somewhere else. So that
No
has to
doubt.
be
No doubt.
that
That
that has to
that
be
has to be
thought through.
strong. That has to be
Yes,
strong. That shouldn't be.
very
That should not be. Slow-footed.
because everyone blames the army. No, the army's role is limited in time and space. In depth, it is limited.
No, no. We should learn from our what we've suffered in the past. Look at Kargil. We were 7 to 8 months late in reacting. It's an intelligence failure, or it's rather maybe not reacting to intelligence, or combination of both.
Basically, the strategic intent was not there. Lahore Declaration of February 1999 put us at ease again.
Whatever, but see,
So,
look at the way
so
we had to
we
pay.
should not. We should let the dialogue, political diplomatic dialogue go on. But the military should do what military is required to do, and not only do.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they are doing it. I'm more than sure, more than confident that they're doing it. So disengagement is very good, and we should now look at sustaining it for some time. Then let's talk about de-escalation. Let's talk about de-induction. But we should be making sure that everything is verified, re-verified, and we should not initiate something which we repent later.
I think you put it very precisely. Um, it's I thank you for bringing all this out. Um, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think we
I
should
think we've
we should
covered
see, covered everything. I think we should see it as a positive step, but not be complacent.
absolutely. No, under no circumstances should we reduce our guard or at all. And particularly, there's a history of surprises from China which must be catered for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thanks to you. Thank you, sir.